When the semester ends, it'll be time to post your students' final grades in Sakai. There's 4 important steps you'll need to perform before posting the final grades. In this video, we'll review a course's grading scale, make an item part of the final course grade, reconcile missing items, and override a student's final course grade. This video assumes you've organized your gradebook with categories and weighting. If you're not using this option, we have a handout with tips which may help you with your grade calculations. Let's begin by reviewing the grading scale that tells Sakai the letter grade to assign to your students based on their overall numeric course grade. We'll need to make sure we've chosen the scale that matches the course's syllabus. Click Gradebook, and then the Settings tab. Expand Grading Schema to view the scale. The default grading scale is the letter grades option, which is a 10-point grading scale. If you need to change the scale, click the drop-down menu next to Grade Type and select the desired option. In the table, review the letter grades and their minimum percentage values. This information should match the grading scale in the course's syllabus. If it's not correct, type the correct percentage values and then click Save Changes. In this example, the grading scale matches the syllabus, so we'll return to the gradebook by clicking the Grades tab. Next, we'll make sure all of the gradebook items we intend to include are being calculated in the final course grade. Focusing on the row of cells that contains the names of each gradebook item, we'll scroll to the right and make note of any cells that have a crossed-out calculator icon. This icon lets you know that the item is not being included in the course grade calculations. I want to make sure this item is included, so we'll click the cell's drop-down arrow and select Edit Item Details. If the item is uncategorized, first select a category for it. Then check the box next to Include Item in Course Grade Calculations, and then click Save Changes. The crossed-out calculator icon is no longer appearing, which means this gradebook item is now being included in the course grade calculations. Okay, now let's consider what will happen if you missed grading an item. In other words, what does the gradebook do with an item that perhaps was never turned in by a student and does not have a grade, such as this Module 2 summary assignment that Fred did not submit? Well, the gradebook will not include the ungraded item in the final course grade. This is analogous to forgiving the assignment and allowing the student the possibility of receiving a higher course grade. We want final course grades to be accurate, so it's important to always give a 0 for any missed assignments. Since there are several tools that send grades to the gradebook, you could go to each one and give 0s for missing grades, but the gradebook provides an option that makes it easier to manage this task. With this option, you can set all ungraded or empty cells across the entire gradebook to 0. Before we zero out this gradebook, it's important to acknowledge the importance of waiting until the end of the semester before you perform this action. Once you zero out all empty cells in the gradebook, your students' final grades will be recalculated. If you do this earlier in the semester, every ungraded item you have in your gradebook, such as future assignments, will be set to 0. Though editable, this has the potential of making the gradebook difficult for you and your students to use, so we strongly encourage you to wait. But at the end of the semester, when you're ready to assign 0s for all empty cells in the gradebook, locate the course grade column and click the drop-down arrow in the top cell. Select Set 0 Score for empty cells, and then click Update. All ungraded items now have a 0. The final step in preparing final grades is to take a moment to review each of the final letter grades assigned by Sakai. The purpose of the review is to see if there is a need to override any of the letter grades that the gradebook did not round up. For example, consider Sandra's final grade. She has a number grade of 89.92, and since the grading scale for this gradebook is set to a 10-point scale, Sakai assigned Sandra a B letter grade. This is because 89.92 falls below the minimum percentage threshold of 90 that is needed to receive an A in this course. But if her number grade were to be rounded up, the grade would become an A. We caution you to be careful during this step. Make sure you override only those grades that are not rounded up. Do not change letter grades that have been calculated correctly. Let's go ahead and override Sandra's letter grade. Hover the mouse over her current course grade, and a drop-down arrow appears. Click the arrow and select Course Grade Override. In the box that appears, locate the cell under Grade Override and type the new letter grade. In this example, we'll type an A. Click Save Course Grade Override. Sandra's new final course grade appears. 90% is appended to the A because 89.92 rounds up to 90, and 90% is the minimum percentage associated with an A in the 10-point grading scale. Okay, the final grades for this gradebook are ready. Let's make sure that students can see their final course grades. To confirm this, I'll click on any student in the gradebook, then click the tab for Student Review Mode, which shows me exactly what is displayed to the student. In this example, next to course grade, I can see that Sandra's final course grade is displayed to her. If I had forgotten to release final grades to students, I would see Not Yet Released instead. To correct this, I would go to Settings, and select Grade Release Rules. If you need assistance while preparing your final course grades, please contact Sakai Help at durhamtech.edu.